Hey everyone, Rob here from X Team. I'm just producing a short video for you to recap what we trained on Thursday around creating pages within WordPress for your multi-sites. And we covered a lot, and you guys seem to take a lot of it in, but there's nothing like having a bit of a training resource to go back to refresh what you did learn. So here we are in our multi-site. We're in our admin in the WordPress backend. For the HR website, if you recall, that's the sort of the example site that I had set up. So I'm in the admin area, and over here on the left, you've got your navigation, and we're in pages and our all pages. As you should recall, this page shows us the list of pages that we have created, and there's a couple of options for changing the status of pages, moving them to trash, or you can edit. Change status, some basic things like that. So feel free to have a look around. Don't feel too afraid of breaking anything, because if you accidentally change a status, you can always change it back. Or if you accidentally trash something, you can just go back to trash and restore it. So it's fairly safe. But we're going to create a new page, and we're going to add a bunch of the blocks that we went through during training as well. So I'm going to click Add New. And we are going to call it our awesome page. It's just giving it a page title at the top there. We talked about how over here on the right is where you have your your settings and your configuration options. In the middle is where you write and produce your content. So back over here on the right, there's a tab here for document. These settings are related to the document or the page, the whole page, whereas the block stuff is related to the current block that you have selected and any relevant settings that are available to it. So we talked about how we can just write. If you just start writing, it just automatically gives you a paragraph block. And if I hit enter and create a new paragraph, that's our first block there. It's just a paragraph block, and we're down here on a new line creating a new one. So up here in our paragraph block, we've got some alignment options. We can make some text bold, italic. We could create a hyperlink by clicking that there, and if I just grab this URL from up here, paste it into there, hit enter, there's a link. So there's a couple of basic formatting options, and then over here on the right, you've got some further options like font size, doing the cool crazy drop cap, and things like that. Certain blocks can be transformed into other kinds of blocks. That's not the case with all of them, but we saw that a paragraph block could, be, for instance, turned into heading, because they're both text style blocks, or a list or a quote. With our headings, we have H1, H2, H3, 4, 5, and 6, and just the idea of having hierarchical headings. H1 being the largest, H6 being the smallest. So I'm just going to turn this one back to a paragraph, and let's create a heading block. So I typed, that was automatically a paragraph block, but I'm going to switch it to heading, and let's make it a H3. The other blocks that we have available to us are list, and I'm just going to copy that, because down here I'm going to create another one, but this one I'm going to turn into a numbered list. And you can do your list stuff where you can indent rows and a couple of the bold, italic, link options that we saw in the paragraph block earlier as well. So let's see what else we have. Okay, the image. Image is a big one. We talked quite a lot about the media library. The media library being sort of a centralized storage of all of your media assets, which 90% of the time are images, but they can include things like documents, PDF documents, etc., or even videos. And so when you're adding an image, you can either upload by clicking that button, and that will upload it from your machine. And then when you do upload it, it adds it to your media library. So we talked about how you don't have to go to your media library and then add all your images in there so that you can add them in on your page. You can just add them as you go, knowing that when you're adding them as you go, they get automatically added into the media library. So you can either do that, or you can select an image from the media library. So let's just do that for now. You can write a little caption here for the image, And then over here, once again, for our block type, we see all the relevant, quite a few different settings for that particular active block. We can resize our image, which is nice. We can tell it we want it to align to the right, or left, or center, which is fantastic. Let's add another type of image block, which was the gallery block. We looked at that as well. So in our media library, let's add these three. Just by selecting them, it puts this little check mark against them. Create new gallery, insert into gallery. Once again, we can, but it will always default, I believe, to having 3 columns. It can crop images or not. A couple of little extra settings there are available for the gallery. Looking again, the button is a really good one to have a look at. So just putting, oops, you put a URL down at the bottom, and you add your button text by just typing in the button. And 2 options for the button that are particularly interesting is for the button styles. You've got the general rounded and then the outline one. And we saw them on the front end as this one being the dark blue, and this one sort of being the light outline and gray. So good use cases when you have numerous buttons on the page, but you want to prioritize a particular one. You could use the bolder blue one for that one, and then all the other secondary buttons have the lighter gray outline. The other block types that we looked at, there was the columns block type, which is sort of like a container block. We have our column on the outside. We can, if we have it selected like that, we can choose how many columns we want, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 6. 6 for our site is probably a little bit excessive. It would get a little bit too cramped. I was able to do 4 fairly well. If you recall on, oops, actually all these menu items got changed around. I think it was about, wasn't it? If we go to that, there we go. Our team profiles, we used 4 columns to facilitate that by using 4 columns and then image, heading, paragraph, image, heading, paragraph, and so on. Another block that proves to be quite handy is the media and text block. And this is that one where you can just put an image on one side and then have some text on the other side. And when you're configuring this block, you can switch it, switch sides. But sometimes when you're thinking about having columns, sometimes this particular block here, the media text block, facilitates things quite well. You can adjust the width of the image as well, which is pretty nifty. I think, actually, another block that we did look at was this cover one, and this is the one where we you choose an image and then you write some, typically a heading on top of it, and often that would sit at the top of the page and sort of be the introduction or the welcome mat for the page and the content that is within it. Quickly looking at our other blocks to see if there are any other major ones that we want to cover. There was the quote one as well. That is just where you can, you can put someone, the principal of the school or a department head or anyone really, said something fantastic, and you can put it in there, and then write the citation or the person who said it. Additional blocks, we looked at the embeds as well, and this is when you're looking at third-party things where you're wanting to embed them. YouTube and Vimeo came up as quite relevant to the team. If you guys are embedding, uploading videos to YouTube or Vimeo, embedding them into your pages could be quite handy. But also Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Also there. We're going to do a separate video on forms, but remembering that that form block is available to you as well. Now, all of this, you can save it as a draft. You can preview your work, which opens up a new tab and just shows you what's going on. You can check it out, and that gives you the chance to look at it before you hit the big blue publish button. Recalling that you can publish immediately, but if you would like to schedule for a future date, you can simply select a date and time there, so that when instead of that saying publish, it will be schedule. Look, that's most of it, everyone. Rapid fire revisit of how to build out a page and add your blocks. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at XTeam and we'll be more than happy to help you out.